Thank you for watching Studio 7 from the Permian Basin Chevy dealers.
Our guest today is Dr. Sudip Bose. He is an emergency physician at Medical Center Hospital. Thanks for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
We're talking about something you know so much about. You worked in battlefields, so stress and reacting to stress is something that's second nature to you. Is that fair to say?
Well, we've all been there, right?
Okay.
Well, we get in that situation where we're stressed out, we feel our heart beating, we get tremors and that sense of doom, we're getting overwhelmed. But now we have a basal stress, or a constant level of stress. So it's not necessarily that saber-toothed tiger that's going to eat us for dinner, but it's more that we have a job, we have emails constantly coming in, deadlines, you have to take the children to soccer practice. So it's a different type of stress.
Well, and I think maybe the media, and I mean that in a broad context, we're inundated also with sort of scary images and school shootings and workplace stresses. We do kind of live in a kind of never let our guard down, always stressed out mode, right?
We do, and it kind of eats away at you, that stress. And what I'd like to do today is to go over kind of what we do in the emergency room, which where we handle very stressful situations.
I'll say, and you say there are, what your strategies are can be applied into our lives
very much
as
so.
well.
Very much
so walk
so.
me through a typical scenario or something maybe you've dealt with that we can learn from.
So the other day we had a child who was playing hockey, and this child came in after a puck hit him at high speed right in the throat by the trachea. The first thing we needed to do was to plan. So when the radio blares that this child is coming in, before the child even arrived, we had to plan what to do.
Okay.
And this pertains to you guys too. If you can anticipate that stress, you can plan for it. What we did is we got the first steps in order. We prepared our equipment. We prepared our airway equipment. And then another quick tip for the planning is to write things down.
I love that you say this because, not to minimize, it seems night and day, but the to-do list, the list of tasks, the writing down the procedure, if it works for you guys, it can help us as well.
And another important thing in the planning phase is to think of the worst case scenario, because you know, Tatum, things don't always go according to plan.
Right.
Yeah.
You get a flat tire, you run out of gas, right.
So you have to think of the worst case scenario and have a backup plan for it.
And you say the second step is to rehearse. It's hard to imagine how you guys rehearse, but you do, and we hear a lot about people who handle crisis situations. They go through the motions, right?
Right. So this child was coming in, and I gathered the team, and I mentioned that, okay, this child's going to come in, it's going to be very tense. There's a lesson in that for all of us. If you rehearse what your situation may be or what that stress may be, you can be better ready for it.
I mean, it makes me think of even something as simple as having a plan for evacuation in your home if there's a fire.
Correct.
You're going to rehearse which window, how do you get through that window?
Exactly, exactly, and you think of that ahead of time. And even just simple things like we mentioned, picking the kids up from school. If, you and your spouse get home and the child's not there, you're like, well, one of us should have planned to,
do they know where to call or where to meet?
Exactly. So
that's a great tip. And then the last step is to learn from the experience.
To learn. So as soon as that child arrived, we went into learning mode. Learn about yourself. Is to learn what is your biggest fear, what's your biggest dread. And that applies to all of us out there, is when we're in that mode and you're in that stressful mode, gather the information you need and learn, observe, ask questions. So if you're more interested in this stuff, you can follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and I like to talk about tips from the emergency room and how to succeed under pressure and just general tips that can help all of us.
I love your social media trail because you do learn a lot and feel like you're sort of in the mix of what happens in the life, a day in your life. So it's always fascinating.
I think there's a lot to learn from the emergency room that can help a lot of us out there. And stay healthy.
Dr. Bose, thanks for being with us
Thank you,
today.
Tatum. Bye-bye.